What? That guy hates on my favorite game engine? How dare he? I'm gonna make him pay.
Whoa, hold your horses, friend. Even though I must admit this video's title is a bit clickbaity, my intention surely is not to bash on Unreal Engine 4. In fact, I will also release a video on 5 reasons why UE4 is better than Unity. But why would you even care? Well, let me introduce myself real quick then. My name is Chris and I'm a software engineer with over 15 years of professional experience. I'm also a hobbyist game developer that has been using Unity and UE4 for many years now. By the way, if you would like to argue with me about why I'm wrong or just want to hang out and chat, make sure to come and say hi over at Twitch on twitch.tv/BrainCheck or click on the link in the description. But now, without further ado, let's dive right into my 5 reasons why I think Unity is better than Unreal Engine 4 in no particular order. Number 1. The coding experience. Given my background as a software engineer, it is to no surprise that my main drive when making games is coding itself. For this to be an enjoyable experience, it is important that you can use tools that you are comfortable with. This is where my main gripe with UE4 is. Unreal's codebase goes all the way back to the very first Unreal game in 1998. While the engine of course has gone through multiple rewrites and is constantly modernized, it's still based on a C++ based foundation, and I really hate C++. It's a really old while also very powerful language. For some people, me included, probably too powerful. It is really easy to shoot yourself in the foot with C++. While its low-level nature with loads of control is one of the reasons it's so powerful, it can also cause a lot of headaches. Coupled with the fact that until very recently you were very much locked into Visual Studio family of code editors, I really learned to hate writing C++ code in UE4. There are of course blueprints, but for me that is not a great replacement for a good old-fashioned bit of coding, especially given the fact that there are performance implications as well. Sure, most of the time it won't matter for the kind of projects I work on, but it still kind of feels bad, man. Unity on the other hand uses C#, a more modern version of C++. In my opinion, it is just a much cleaner experience writing C# code. Whilst the fact that C# is garbage collected gives reason for performance concern, it makes writing code much simpler and cleaner. Fortunately, Unity recognized the shortcomings of C# and has started a long campaign to enable high-performance coding using its new dot stack, something I will come back later to in this video. Unity also works great with JetBrains Rider, a great idea that instantly felt like home to me. The reason for that is simple. I have been using JetBrains IDEs in my day-to-day job as a software engineer for years now. For me, those are by far the best tools for the job, and the Unity integration with Rider is just excellent. One last thing I really love about coding in Unity is that it actually has tools for writing automated tests integrated. Test-driven development is something I really appreciate, though I do way too little in Unity. Number 2. 2D tools. I am no artist. I've dabbled a bit with pixel art and 3D modeling, but it's sure that I am a coder first, and usually when I make games or prototypes, they usually look weird and ugly, or I just use assets from the asset store. However, when I use 2D assets, I'm glad I'm doing it in Unity. Unity has a rich history of great looking 2D games. Ori and the Blind Forest, Cuphead, Hearthstone, you name it. The reason for that is quite simple. Compared to UE4, Unity has a ton of dedicated 2D tools. The tile map editor, for instance, is super powerful. It allows using smart brushes that you can even code yourself. This way, you can build brushes that directly support your gameplay. Unity has its own skeletal animation system for 2D sprites, which makes for very smooth and reusable animations. Whether you make mobile games or want to go retro with pixel art, Unity has you covered. One of the more recent additions to its 2D toolkit was the introduction of a specialized 2D renderer for Universal Render Pipeline. This allows you to go create specialized 2D shaders with shader graph and add support for real-time 2D lights. It was never easier to make great looking 2D games than it is with Unity. UE4 on the other side, while it has 2D features through the Paper2D plugin, it never was a big focus of Epic Games. This lies within the very nature of how Epic develops UE4. They usually draw new feature ideas from their very own games they make with the engine, and since those are mostly AAA quality 3D games, 2D just isn't a big focus. Don't get me wrong, you can make some great looking 2D games in UE4. I just think that you can get that much more comfortable with Unity. Number 3. Dots. One of the biggest shifts in Unity's core architecture has come in the form of the data-oriented tech stack, or DOTS. The combination of the ECS architecture with the burst compiler and the C# job system allows developers to write code with the never-seen-before performance. Without going too much into detail, you can picture DOTS as a new architecture that allows you to get the most out of your CPU by creating code that has data laid out as good as possible to make the most of modern CPU capabilities. It is also very trivial to write multi-threaded code with DOTS, something that has been giving developers headaches for decades. While DOTS is still far from being fully usable in its current state, it is going to boost the performance of every aspect of the engine in the future. Since Unity is pretty much rewriting every part of it with DOTS in mind, the demos they have released so far are very impressive. Hundreds of thousands of entities being streamed in and out within the blink of an eye. And while there still is a lot of stuff missing, for example easy to use animation support using DOTS, you can already use it in your projects in a hybrid setting, doing the heavy calculations in DOTS while using standard game objects for the visuals. UE4 on the other hand, while making impressive strides in performance, especially with the upcoming Unreal Engine 5 release, will have a hard time shaking its outdated actor-based architecture in the long run. If you ask me, this might be a big advantage for Unity in the future. Number 4. Editor customization. Depending on the kind of game you are making, having dedicated tools can expedite your workflow drastically. While UE4 basically gives you full access to its source code, you are pretty much able to change everything about it you like. However, given how ginormous the codebase is, it is really hard to get a grasp on the thing you might want to change. Also, the last time I checked, the documentation on how to write your own editor windows and tools was sparse at best. Mostly non-existent, to be honest. So in order for you to recreate something that already exists and change it in the way you see it fit, requires a lot of trial and error while searching the engine codebase. In Unity, it is very simple to write your own editor scripts. From custom inspectors for your mono behaviors to completely new editor windows or tools for the viewport, Unity got you covered. There are also a lot more learning resources available on the net for this specific topic. A new addition to this field was the new UI elements feature, which basically allows you to write custom editor windows in an HTML-like fashion using style sheets to style your windows. There even is a what you see is what you get editor for these windows, which makes it even easier to design your own editors. Number 5. Cinemachine. If there was one feature UE4 should just straight up copy from Unity, it would have to be Cinemachine. When people think about making games, they usually think about how to make it look good, how to design game design systems, care a lot about stuff like performance. One thing that usually ends up being an afterthought is the camera. The game camera pretty much is the player's window into the worlds you create. And whilst it can be very simple, like in a first-person shooter for instance, making game with lots of different camera perspectives that ideally keep track of certain objects in the scene while switching fluently between them can become super complex very quickly. Here is where Cinemachine shines. It comes with a variety of camera types that have the capability of easily tracking objects on the screen while moving naturally and blending between different cameras. Cinemachine can also be embedded into Timeline, Unity's sequencing tool that can be used to create cutscenes for instance. This is all done with almost no code, while you still can maintain all the control you want when coding. It also is a very visual tool that can be tweaked during game mode. This is intuitive and powerful as it gets. Seriously, even if you are the biggest Unreal fanboy on the planet, if you look at Cinemachine demos and don't want that feature in UE4, something must be seriously wrong with you. So please, someone copy that for UE4 here. I gave you a great idea for a plugin that would probably make a lot of money on the marketplace. You're welcome. And there we have it. That wasn't that bad, was it? Just remember that this is my top 5 list and that there are very personal preferences involved here. You love C++, blueprints are all you will ever need, more power to you. I think both engines are great and have their very distinct strengths and weaknesses. And to prove that, I will make the switch around soon and upload my top 5 list why Unreal Engine 4 is better than Unity. What is the engine feature you couldn't live without? You think I'm totally wrong and want to wash my head? Then come have a visit on my Twitch stream, where I either make or play games while chatting with my viewers. I would love to see you guys there. To make sure you don't miss out on my top UE4 list video, make sure to subscribe to this channel. If you loved the video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, thumbs down it into the ground. I see you guys in the next one. Have a great time.